platform, and today what we're looking at, it's basically women's involvement in politics from a very different angle. We know women form almost the bulk of the population, although by the World Population Report now it says that it's about 49.6% of the global population that women occupy. But let's bring it down to Africa. In Africa, we've only had one president, female president in Africa. That was Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in Liberia, and that has never happened again after her time. She's out of office now. Coming down to Sierra Leone, we have women in Sierra Leone who are active in politics, who are competent. But when it comes to the two main political parties, we don't see women given the tickets to contest on their party as presidential candidates. But they're used to campaign. Again, when women contest on the smaller political parties, much support is not given, neither by the men nor by the women. Why is that happening? So today, we have lots of people here on my platform, and we're going to look at that exclusively. Now on my platform, I have, let's start from that end, I have Dr. Fatutaki from the 50-50 group. I have Zainab Hawa Bangura, who served as a minister and different positions in the All People's Congress government. She also worked for the UN. On this end, I have Honorable Bernadette Lahai. She's a member of the Women's Shadow Parliament, and she was a member of the National Parliament in Sierra Leone. And I have Honorable Emma Fraser, who's also a member of the Women's Shadow Parliament, and I have different people here. So today, we're going to talk about that. And I also have a woman here who contested the just concluded 2018 elections in Sierra Leone as a presidential candidate.
Target is visible.
Abort his mission, but I want him alive.
I copy that.
Please! Insurance of a tunnel slowly!
Boss, he's carrying a packet of Giggles diaper, not a bomb.
Keep your baby happy with Giggles Classic, Giggles Premium Dry and Soft Diapers, and Giggles Wipe with different flavors. Giggles Diapers have stretchable sides, liquid indicator, and a special absorbent layer to keep your baby dry always. For your Giggles diaper for children and adults and other Giggles products, go to Hong Kong China Enterprises, 6 Back Street, Freetown, or telephone 088 437 888 076 585 757 077 174 926, because what happens in Giggles stays in Giggles.
What's you dey agba for go this morning? I dey go na bank. But you know say man get for go pull small face I dey go shop for dom to we. I no look late safe. You no need for yagba yourself. All you need a smartphone where you download the app easy. What you dey talk? With your SIM couple, you can do cash withdrawal, cash deposit, pay for goods, you dey check your balance, transfer from one local bank account to another local bank account, or you can transfer from one local bank account to another bank account wey not a local bank account. You can pay bills like NPA, EDSA, DSTV, and plenty other bill them. You can even buy airtime for your GSM phone. In Otapleo, requested for foreign exchange transaction. You can do it with your local SIM couple. You can make payments through e-check account. That means you can pay person will not even get account. And cash e-check from any local commercial bank ATM machine. You mean say I just need for open my phone? I do all my transaction on my phone? Just go to the agent when at the FIA business person, and you can do plenty other thing them, like for check your balance for yourself. Well, an officer need for go na bank direct. I go into cookery first. From there, I do my transaction on my phone with local SIM couple. You phone and you bank. Remember say this product na salon no more in the work.
So now we're looking at the recommendations. How do we change the narrative? What do we do for the women? How do we encourage women to come into politics to that level? How do we convince the voters to vote for the women? How do we convince the major political parties to send in women? So the floor is open. I'll start with you, Zainab. How do we change that narrative? On all fronts, bringing women to come forward, getting the political parties to get women to those positions, and getting people to vote for women.
I think this is a responsibility that the entire country has to decide where we want to go. We're tired of corruption. We're tired of mismanagement of state resources. We have to look at the kind of stuff. I have to say, I look at individual. I think it's important. And whether you like it or not, as I mentioned to you at the beginning, women are less corrupt. Of course, there are women who are corrupt. No doubt about it. But when you take in terms of percentage, women are less corrupt. Women have characteristics that's embedded in them: caring, nurturing, building. And when they take this characteristics into governance, it changed the structure of governance, the way government is run. You look at it in the Scandinavian countries, the countries that have done very well in terms of development have majority women.
But as Part2 rightly said, how many of the women know that, aside from
no, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I come to the next thing. That's where everybody has a responsibility. It's not one person who changes, not the religious leader themselves. And for me, the second most important thing is the leadership. I think it's very important, the political leadership of this country, the person who is the chairman of the country. Because the reality is, the country is being held to ransom by two political parties. It's going to be extremely difficult to go and tell that woman who didn't have been called for tell and say vote SLPP.
So which means if APC and SLPP should send a woman with the tickets of flag bearer,
let them even start from their party structure. Secretary General, organizing secretary, chairman of the party.
Deputies.
Yes, even the deputies. So that's how you start to put women in leadership position. People start seeing them as leaders.
What about the women themselves? There are women who have the panache, the verve to come into politics and make a difference, but
You
some are
fight.
taking the backstage.
No, listen. When I went to politics, I had such a very difficult and bitter experience with my political parties to such an extent. They resented me because they said, this woman too had to tranga. This woman no go put on a lot of mercy. You know, Sabi and money business tranga. When put us this one, nobody no go get space. They said that and people heard it, people came to me and so when I went to the president, I told him. And there are people. So the leadership, the leader of a country has to decide where he wants to move the country. Like President Kagame did. Like Tony Blair did, like a lot of these other people in this country said, listen, my loyalty is to Sierra Leone. And the people that is going to move are going to move Sierra Leone, people are going to put in position. So they will actually find the women. Yes, there are not many, but they are there. And so if you encourage these women, support them. You know, when Nelson Mandela was coming, when he came out from prison, you know what he did? He negotiated for 1 year with the party, the National Party. Yes. Within that 1 year, he had a program to training women and other people and sending them overseas to get experience, because while he was negotiating, these people were being trained. He knew who is going to be ambassador. We have this problem in this country.
So now,
I cannot finish.
Sorry.
By that doing that, we go to the constitution, the affirmative action. It has helped anywhere in the world, all over the world, where women have broke the glass ceiling. So it's one thing to have a woman as president. My wish is to have we've never had a woman as minister of finance. They've had her in Nigeria. We've never had a woman as minister of
very
defense.
young one.
They have one in South Africa and a few other countries. So it's not just about that. I think we have to understand it's not just about having a one president. If having women in position of where we think they can bring integrity, I think that's very important for us. So it's not just fighting for the president, it's fighting to change the culture of the government. Because if you have a woman as president, you have 99% of her cabinet are men, she's going to have a problem. You understand? So these are some of the things, and I think the last one.
But then with the appointments of ministers, it comes from the president. So if a woman is president, it's within your judgment to decide who would be my ministers.
And I think for us, one thing that we noticed, and we spoke with the UN, and I remember I had an uncle of mine, I had to tell, say, oh, when I want to take over the man, we women also have to think about language. The issue is not replacing men. The issue is what do we do together? If you get 200 hours or 200 months for change something, you get 100 people. Now you can't use only 50 of the people that for do that work. They're going to do the work at a much longer time. So what we are saying and what we should change our attitude is, listen, there are lots of competent women, there are lots of educated women, there are lots of women who have a lot of self. Why don't you try to bring more women to make the workload lesser? So that
so it's using the right language to
also
get
for us,
what you want.
We talk to each other half the time. Women, she can tell you that.
With that
So
said,
we have to bring men who are that's why I say the leadership. We have to bring men who
Side by
are
side. Just
yes.
go with 60.
Yes.
Honorable
It's
Analyst
fine,
Lahai,
it's
you're a
fine,
member of the
side.
Sierra Leone People's Party. What more do you feel can be done? How do we change the narrative for women
I think
from all the levels?
I think one, we have continuously said that the leadership is very important. The leadership is key. But when I go back to the second rounds of Ellen Johnson's first term, when he was going she was going to the election with George Weah for the second rounds, Liberia actually galvanized the women because the women knew what was at stake.
Again, what I noticed from her interview with Amampo yesterday, and Amampo brought it up that women had to steal, although that in itself is very illegal, you can't do that. They had to steal their husbands' and sons' voter cards, those they know would vote against her. They stole those voter ID cards just so that people who are going to support Ellen Johnson Sirleaf would be those who would vote for her.
Yeah, because
that was a desperate act, but it's illegal.
women
It was, yes, but it's illegal.
Yeah, women even volunteer to babysit for market women. You know, the women organize themselves in such a way that
from women was just
for market women who wanted to go to farm or wanted to go in the
just
village,
so they go to
vote. And you know, they did everything under the surface of the earth because they knew that was a singular opportunity. So it has also to do with the women's result.
Do you see a possibility of such support
It can happen. It can happen while with political education. It is high time women start to link political leadership with also availability of social services. It's very important. But the two are disconnected. You know, we put in leaders in positions, but it is a matter of contract. I will be your president. Social contract. I will be your president, and I will do A, B, C, and D. Then at the end of the day,
me the power.
we give
I'm
them
going
the
to use
opportunity.
the power to actually give an
At the end of the day, where there is serious political education, we should now be asking our political leaders, in your 5 years, how did you change my life? How did I move from where I wanted to be to where I am now? Through your leadership, by your being accountable, by your being transparent, by ensuring that you take actions to address impunity, by ensuring that you know where people did well, you patted them on their back, where people did wrong, and they punish them. So it should be a social contract. Then I'm also saying that the issue of affirmative action that Zainab has spoken about is also very key. If you look at Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, and other countries, they did not wait for the women to be at par with men just by their own efforts. You know, women have suffered long history of marginalization. When education came, it was the men that went to school, and the women were working on the farm to support their younger brothers. Patriarchy, it is they would trust a young boy after the death of the father to become a paramount chief, but then the elder sister,
the mother cannot go out.
The elder sister,
unless the son
the elder sister cannot become paramount chief because she's a woman, and so therefore in those countries, affirmative action has worked. And you know, people
but also another
understand.
consideration is there are cultural beliefs that hinder those. How do we break those barriers with the
Those cultural
Where did they
beliefs has
start?
to do with
Created by
socialization.
They
Have to be by socialization.
and that has become the norm.
No, but it is
Yes,
there.
but
We
you
cannot
do it at home. What
we
is
cannot
it?
underestimate cultural
Somebody
beliefs.
can start
Because there are some
something
men. I was working in a research institute, and there was a particular man said me the day Institute of Cultural Research gets a female director, and they go. He said, I will never work under the man. So, and if this man has such a strong belief,
As if it's
that
such a
belief
taboo.
is also
them is it?
brought to the children
Right.
during socialization and so forth and so on. So what we are saying is that there are structural actions that we can take. There are legal actions we can take. The legal action is, for example, we are craving that Section 27 first A and B be expunged from the constitution. But it should not stop there. We should also ensure that we are signatory to the CEDAW, and the CEDAW says that state parties can take special measures, temporary measures, to reduce the gap between men and women.
So
and
now we hear the new government saying they're going
discrimination.
to revert to the late Justice Kawan's recommendations that the Constitutional Review Committee sent. And if that's the case, it means possibly Sierra Leone might be heading to a referendum to amend those things in the Constitution. And then
30%.
we know that there
minimum of
are contributions.
It always has to be.
There are contributions that women organizations made to that document.
Yeah.
So now, Honorable Emma, going forward, talking about the legal framework, how hopeful should we be, or what would be your guide to the new government with that regard, especially?
I want to read your advice.
Well, what I believe should happen, fortunately there was no referendum on the constitution, so we now have an opportunity to input some positive areas for women. I would say we must know what we want. We must know that women matter, and there must be a sensitization of women all over the country, all over, so that we know, particularly now that women are becoming aware of their position. Women Shadow Parliament is ready to go to the most remote place to discuss, to engage in ways women can participate, not only in governance, but also in other issues, in other areas, in political and also social areas. And this is
So what more do you expect to see as far as political will and commitment goes in giving women that platform?
again, leadership. And now with all the women's organizations, we can mobilize. This is no time for individual women's organizations to go on their own. We must come and have a conference and know what we want for women in this country, where we want women to go within the next 5 years. If we are able to do that, we come up with a plan, we come up with a strategy, then we can be a pressure group to the government to see that certain actions are taken against the next election, and also the inclusion of relevant portions in the
I
constitution.
think we have, even before the main election, we have, one of the things that we have overlooked so much in this country, and which helped Rwanda, is that we have the World Development Committee, which is in the Local Government Act, that says 50% of women. We worked that. I was involved in drafting that, making sure we include it in that. And I think we have not taken right advantage of it to ensure that in the World Committee, World Development Committee, we have 50%. Because once you have women there, these are the women you should start training at the community level. Because in Rwanda, that's what they did from the cell level. They trained these women to go into the council. From the council, these women were trained to go. So you give them a platform from their community. Once they become more self-confident, they participate, they see themselves, they start seeing themselves as leaders.
But now
and the
women
next
are
thing
not
you train
even
them into the
aware
council.
that they have a right to have 50% in the World Council.
So then this brings me to Dr. Taki. How do we do this? How do we handle this to make sure that women become aware of what is expected of them, or the opportunities that are there, and what role they can play in helping to move the country forward? How do we encourage the women?
I think it's being constant, giving, sensitizing. I don't think as we speak that there's any adult woman who does not know that they have rights. They do know that they have rights, but they cannot voice out this, or within the community they find themselves, the environment they find themselves, they cannot readily bring it out to say, well, actually, we set me right, if you don't think they have the backing for people to support it. But otherwise, if the man left in order, they can take it.
That's the economic empowerment.
You know, and all
that's
these
what
things.
is missing.
So it has to come with enlightenment in the sense that education not to just book. You understand? Common sense and basic things that you need to bring to them, so that they understand that it is within my rights for one for B. But even if I'm selling in this market, or I have this farm, if I want to make certain decisions, or want to do something about the beginning and himself, I can do it. I think one of the key recommendations that I would have is that we have a lot of women who would now go, younger ones, older ones, more mature ones, who would go into political parties and make their presence felt within the parties. So the ones who are within the parties change the dynamics within the
Like
party.
the 27-year-old lady in America.
Yes.
Yes, but there's a Tanzania.
That was so bold.
And she was a bad attendant.
Who is
So bold.
who is an MP in Tanzania. So we have all of these. So it's about going in, make sure you go in, find a political party you like, go in and register within the political party. If you're already within there, start changing the dynamics. Start bringing your voices. Start talking and saying things that would people, even if they alapa you, at least they will notice you.
At least you said something.
At least you said something
And they
and
heard
they will
it.
notice you.
I think
So it's not about going to wear the t-shirts anymore.
when we
it's
are
about
doing the
questioning
constitutional
something.
review,
So whilst they're doing
when we are
that,
doing the interviews of the constitutional review, we went to some villages, and the issue you said is that not that women don't know their rights. Their problem is we have to go for redress when those
And
rights
secondly,
are violated. That is the
That's
problem.
one.
A lot of women were complaining that they were born with their brothers, their parents have died, they left land for them, a lot of
And they're not
plantations,
entitled to
but
it.
they have never enjoyed the cacao and the coffee that is being harvested, and they don't, even when they want to seek for redress, they don't have the money, they don't have the sometimes the mobility to even go and seek redress.
to change
So
the
these are
dynamics
some
what
of the
happens
issues
within
again
the
that
country. And this is why I say, for me,
educate
this
them
new
on their rights
government,
and redress.
I am one person who is very fed up and tired with lip service. I don't even want to hear it. Don't tell me I'm going to do anything.
Do it.
Just do it.
You know, there was
Get
So
it done.
I will
there
not
was
be
a
jumping
time
and
in
shouting
this
when I
country.
hear a
There was a
commitment
time
and I
in
see
this
something
country
done.
where we had gender officers in each of the ministries.
Well, there's still. Well, then sort
But
of.
they
There was even a
No,
gender
no,
advisor
no,
at the office of the president.
No, this was very late, but we had, was it a national women's plan or something? There was a document.
No, they have gender officers within ministries, MDAs.
Yes, the title is there, but what happened was that these were not gender trained people.
Yes.
These were people identified, and then because they are civil servants, once they move to next ministry, the office becomes dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So, not that we don't have the instruments, I think that's the challenge. What we lack is the willpower to implement.
To make it
To make it happen. That's
So,
the
so
problem.
how do we solve that?
You know how we solve it? We question our leadership.
Leadership.
Who is there now? Who is very
Leadership.
new, very fresh?
Dr. Taki,
Very
what do you
vibrant.
feel the president should do that would be very convincing in that regard that yes, women's empowerment is taking place?
Okay,
in
one of the things that I have acknowledged that he's done so far, we've made a lot of noise. We are a pressure group at 50-50, and regardless, we're non-partisan, so nobody can tell us we're supporting any political party. One of the things to acknowledge is the way he's appointing. We've made some noise about the number of women who are full cabinet ministers. I think now we have 5 because the aging. Well, he also made the step of appointing a female attorney general who has the opportunity to change some of these laws and make some of these policies, make the changes that should be gender friendly, that should be women friendly within her office. So that's good. But he has to think what's the legacy he wants to leave. He has 5 years. Okay, we're looking at 5 years. After that, what you do is what will carry you to the next other years. So within the 5 years, what's this? Yes, the emphasis on education is very key, but that is very long term.
It's long time.
Because you will not see the effect, the benefit of it
10, 15,
until
20
yes.
years.
You will not see the benefit of it.
You will
But
have to-
he can have the commitment to what kind of legacy. Yes, what kind of legacy do I
The
want
other
to
thing,
do?
I think.
No, hold on now. Look at the policies. Let them be gender friendly. Don't be telling us things. I want to do this. I don't.
Just do them.
And you will find out we all want. This is our country. We don't have anywhere else to go. A lot of us have been every place. We come back. We are Sierra. We want him to succeed. We want the country to succeed. We want the country to be on the map with other people, other countries and we can even, like Sierra Leone has been significant in the way we moved out of war and the way we haven't socially consolidated our war and the problems that have come with the social problems that have come with the war, but we've moved beyond the violence.
And Phebe,
So
this
these
is where
are the
I'm
things
going
that
to
we
come
need
to you
set
now
up
in
this-
recommendations. What do you recommend?
Before you come to
Yes,
that, let
just
me say
quickly,
something. I
so
think
round
one
up.
of the things that I think as a very concrete recommendation is uplifting the position of Minister of Gender. I think he should combine gender and planning. He separated planning from finance because finance goes and generates the resources, but planning is the one that actually monitors the ministries what they put in plan. If you put the Ministry of Gender and Planning together, what it will do is that the Ministry of Gender at that time, which will be part of planning, will make sure every policy has a
I am of a different view. I think gender should be by itself.
Yes. It can be by itself, but the way I've been in cabinet, gender they don't. You don't get money set for buy petrol. I'm telling you,
No, that has to
by
be
the
gender.
That will not solve the problem. That will not solve the problem. Gender can still be on its own. If you are convinced of uplifting the women, then that is the ministry that is providing the oversight. That is giving the office. What is stopping you from giving that ministry the same resources as you are giving to water, as you are giving to health, as you are given?
It's in the pecking order.
In
the pecking order. Yes.
Somebody makes that pecking order.
The president.
If you make it as a priority,
that's what I'm saying.
It becomes a priority.
It becomes a priority. So we have budget.
So ladies, with all what you're saying is
the problems we are grappling with in terms of poverty can be solved when you address the issue of women and children.
Yes. So you're all saying that if the Ministry of Gender becomes a solid ministry on its own,
a senior ministry,
when gender ministry started in 1996, when
unfortunately, sorry, Dr. Saki, I'm going to have to cut you there, so we go straight to you for your recommendations because we have to wrap this up. Your recommendations.
It was gender ministry.
By itself.
Yeah, and then it was man social welfare.
Yes, Phebe.
I think starting from him. He read what
him as in the president. Okay.
His manifesto, it is there. He says it very clearly. He has to have the will, to enact those things that are in that manifesto. And for me, I was very sad at the number of women that he put in positions. I'm not talking about the deputy positions, the significant positions. Where women were totally sidelined. And we finally got a Minister of Justice when, shall I say, the proverbial shit hit the fan.
Yes.
Which I think he could do. I think he has the will. This president has a unique opportunity to basically change the course of Sierra Leone. It is his to do. And I think if he has that will, and if I were to speak to him personally sitting right there, I would advise we need our international face to be made up. But we need our home face more. I think the attention. It's nice to have the commission of inquiry to know who stole what, but that should not define these 5 years. These 5 years is the unique one where he can actually push agendas forward. And women
can make Sierra Leone stagnant.
Yes.
This is the time Sierra Leone has to change.
We need a woman in finance. We need a woman in health. We need a woman in agriculture. We need the places which help the feminization of poverty women, where women lack economic. So Minister of Finance for this country, for God's sake, you more get Minister of Finance woman.
We have a deputy minister.
I said Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance.
You know what in the deputy, the minister they make usually that.
Yes,
let me say something. What Madam Zaida she's saying, she's right. The reason why Sierra Leone are suffering from economic stagnation is just because women were not involved in strategic position. That is why all the time men we are chasing after change of government inquiries, auditing, because of the involvement of men in this strategic position. Women, have you ever heard in Sierra Leone that women were put in a committee of inquiry? No. 6 decades ago in this country.
One in 10.
All along but for us as a religious leaders, we have to change the mindset, especially from the leadership, and as religious leaders we need to go down to the village level. We use our religious books, started to teach them so that the elderly people will know that women need to be educated, not only to be educated, to engage themselves in business and other things else. Because if we see here in the Bible, in Proverbs 31, Solomon the wisest man, he said, who can find a virtuous woman? Who can find a virtuous woman? He said that for her price is far above rubies, is value more than diamond. Women are
Yes, with the young ladies, yes.
You need, as religious leaders, you need to use your books in the right way.
Exactly.
I have heard the Bible being used the wrong way to put people to say that woman in places. Of course, the Quran is common for our sheikhs, our Boku sheikhs. The woman would translate and say, the woman should be happy to have
Okay, yes, sorry, gentlemen. I want to hear from my young generation ladies. Yes, darling.
Well, I want to believe that women empowerment, I just want to say that those women that are empowered right now in governance should help those that are not in governance to make sure that more women are taking part in governance. Because, for example, some women can be in governance but cannot do anything to support their fellow women that are not capable to be in governance, cannot create that gap between them and the women that are not in governance. Why some can do that? Women, we are somehow selfish. Some are selfish and some are not.
So we need that platform.
We need that platform.
Sorry, what organization are you from?
Nigwa.
Okay, I want to hear your organizations as well as you start. Yes, then.
Someone talked about
From which organization?
Media Initiative for Women in Government.
Good. Yes, you were gonna say.
Someone talked about women being bossy. Yeah, I'll say yes. Women are a bit bossy when it comes to leadership, and we the women, we find it very difficult to support our companions when it comes to leadership. Because there's a time someone becomes a leader, and when I see
with a man you flat your way around and you get what you want. You don't do it with a lady.
Woman, it's very difficult to just go there and you want to influence the person to do something. Then when it's a man, there's a way you can force yourself on the man.
That's that in itself is bad.
That's why we have corruption. That's why we have corruption.
I'm not going to quote you, but I just want to say something. I think it's feel like because of, they've shrink up our space so much and our potentials are limited. So sometimes you say that you say I guess what if it's your one. You know what I mean?
So whereas when a woman is there, you don't have to beg for it. You get what you have to get because she's not asking for sex in return.
You get what you're due.
Women at least, this is me saying, I'm a young girl and I'm here and I work with a lot of other girls. They're lazy. They just want to get things handed over to them easily. And if a woman is in that position, I like that. I
like the way you just put it. Yes, Emma, you were gonna say from your the organization. Mutual. Okay, yes, let's go.
All I want to say here this afternoon is that one way we can stop this problem, this women, how would I say, this problem here that we've identified here this afternoon is that we have to go back to the drawing board.
What do we do there?
Yes, the Constitution. We have to review the Constitution. There are certain lines in the Constitution, certain phrases in the Constitution that we have to erase and rewrite. If we don't do that, I'm afraid it has to take a very long time for a woman to become the first female president in this country. Secondly, Fantasy here mentioned that our space has been shrunk in the society and we have been limited. Fantasy, I'm afraid to say that as a woman, nobody can limit my rights. As a woman, nobody can put me down because I know my rights. I know what I want. I know what I want, and I know what
And there are those like you who don't, who you see during the afternoon hours, nicely dressed, hanging bags, going to those ministries to do what you don't know. And Fantasy now is saying they're in the majority, well, I wonder where you get that statistics from.
It's because, I don't want to call you there, it's because when I work with now, I work with grassroots, she's like the elite and educated, but I work with the grassroots women more. You know what I mean? So these women are, they don't believe, say, even if they're smart, they're like, I can't sense.
That is why we have to
you're smart. It's because it's not on the constitution.
That is why we have to educate them.
If you feel like a woman should run for a bench election,
that is why we have to educate them. We are here, we are all empowered here. All we have to do is to go back. We are ambassadors. We have to serve as ambassadors to our our fellow women.
Beautiful enough that we have lots of people here. So imagine one person talking to one person and that other. So if we multiply, and then it makes an impact. Hopefully.
Let me give you my own recommendation. Well, let me just remind you quickly what the Prophet said about men who abuse their wives during the day, and in the evening that man takes off all his dress just to pounce on that woman and say, okay, take it easy. Shame on that man. So you see how far Islam has gone in defending women. My recommendation is to all of you, you have to work together. The men are united. You, the women, are not united.
Yeah, they disagree, but they agree when necessary.
I mean, they like to talk about each other, conversate each other. They don't go black and to me. So if you are like that, I'm afraid. So you have to work together.
Use that
and what the lady said is true. Right? Looking for something. The woman wants her brother to win, her uncle to win, her husband to win, her boyfriend to win. Because at the end of the day, she's going to benefit something. They need cash. They want smartphones. They're not thinking of the future here. So I think the women have to work on that, and you should help them. I just sign up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, you were going to say. Let's hear your organization.
From the AS Homa. Actually, I found what Francis said. So it's very unfortunate to say that ladies are not serious. I mean, women are not serious. Are lazy. I found that very stereotypical. We have a lot of young women who are very vibrant and assertive to change the status quo. But we have a lot of challenges, and for me personally, I think it's a journey, the fight to get every woman to resonate with the concept of gender equality. It's a journey. Now, again, I think if we should really create a platform in which women and men should have equal space in leadership, I think society has a great role to play. We live in a society that teaches our girls to not aspire too much. We have a way to communicate with our boys that you will naturally fit to go into different leadership positions. Now, any woman in a leadership position who tends to be very disciplined, result-oriented, is easily classed as bossy.
Yes.
But if a man is
arrogant,
he's classed as
rude,
result-oriented, I have that challenge being the president of the mass communications department. So, I mean, we have a lot of challenge, along this line. So, we still have some young people who not see reason to come in despite, but like I said earlier, it's a journey for us, and we really have to concentrate on enlightening as much young people as we can. We have to sensitize them to take ownership of this fight, because you have to, if it's a mind game, it's really a mind game. If I understand my worth and how much value I can inspire into society, then I can take leadership. I can dare into whatever leadership mantle. So I found that very, very unfortunate.
Thank you very much. Yes, dear.
Okay, I'm from Media Initiative for Women and Girls. So basically, I want to say something concerning what she was saying. There's this issue what I think women face mostly, and this is wherein, for example, you'll have somebody who has been in a ministerial post for probably working with the former minister who was a man, and then that person, a woman takes the place of that man he was working for. And then when you get women who are being said to be bossy, and when she comes into that position, then you'll have maybe the PRO saying, excuse me, because this is how we used to do things. And because
this is how we used to. So you're expected to follow the same pattern.
Yeah, so we've heard so many times when men say it, men in the politics game say this is not a game for ladies or women. And it's a man thing, which is very wrong.
Poker isn't exclusively for men.
So even in my field of journalism, we get it when people say, no, a woman can't hold the camera. Why? A camera, it's just something anybody.
It's a gadget you can learn to use.
You can just learn it. So why can't I? And so basically, I will recommend that any woman that gets a position where she knows what she's doing and it's for the benefits for hundreds of people. I recommend you continue being busty, just be as busty as you can.
But in the right way though, in the right way that you don't get to stain the character of other women.
Talking about that, I think one of the things that we have to observe, which is extremely important in our world, when a woman fails, that failure
affects other women.
When a man fails,
it's him
and him alone. And therefore, one of the biggest challenges I found I have to say it, because I was Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Health, when a woman becomes a minister, I think one of the mistakes we have done in this country, the women folks don't come together and ask her, what can we do to help you? How
do we help make you successful?
Or vice versa, Zaina.
Or the woman going to women.
There's nothing wrong if you become a minister, you have all these women around you. Why don't you call your sisters and say, now I'm a minister. These are my work. How can you help me? Somebody has to go to the mountain. If the Mohammed cannot go to the mountain should go to Mohammed. So there's no hard and fast through that. It is the women that should come to the minister or the minister come. But what we have found
it has to be.
But Zaina, even when we formed, we had the women, how do we call it? The one that Patricia Macaulay was running. Yes. The women ministers, women ministers and parliamentarians. We had the network, Newman was for women ministers and parliamentarians. We never saw ministers there. It was only in Sierra Leone and maybe in other countries, maybe the women ministers were part and parcel. But in all those meetings, it was only the parliamentarians that we saw. We didn't see women ministers. But this was also an organization worldwide that is for women ministers, because we are the two most important women leaders in the country. We are a minister and I'm a parliamentarian. So when we come together, we can help each other, by linking. For example, you are in the Ministry of Health, you can link with the women that are working in the health area, or women in parliament, what we can do to help your laws, if you bring a law, or what are the laws that we need to propagate, or what are the laws that we need to familiarize that to you, that we can help you. So in fact, we should be helping each other. But in this country, I'm sorry, Zainab, to say, there has been disconnect between members of parliament and women ministers. We don't know where the disconnect.
It's not only the member of parliament, it's also the women in the party. My experience
so there's a disconnect.
Is that, and I think that's what you people should also start doing. The women in the political party structure, plus the women in the members of parliament,
and the women ministers.
That's one gap that I have. I mean, in retrospect, now I'm not a minister, but as I come back and I look at some of the challenges we face, that's one problem that we have to solve. Getting them together so they can have an agenda. The second, for the girls who spoke about, man, they say, bossy, the reality is, you become a minister, you become a member of parliament. It doesn't take your job for being a wife and a mother. And I think women, we normally say in the gender thing, they say woman get double shift or triple shift. So the time and opportunity a man has when he's a man minister is not that because she's at home. The son, if he goes to school and he has a problem, he doesn't call the father. He calls the woman, even if you are president. You understand? That also is a lot of burden on women. So a lot of what we have to do, a woman is a wife, she's a mother, it doesn't change. She's a daughter. It doesn't change. And so sometimes she's running to do things, she doesn't have the time. And secondly, this perception. We always say, this is Bernadette, too proud, to talk to her. But have you spoken to her? Have you met Bernadette to find out? And you paint that picture. I tell you, because I started, my mother was a market woman, I started the Sierra Leone Market Women Association. I have a long affiliation with them. And so even now that I have a lot of time on my own, I go to Egan Street, I go to King Jimmy, and this woman see you there with yourself and say, Madam Margaret, don't you see you? So you can excuse me, why shouldn't I go to the market? And that's the same thing young girls say, this one there, I don't want to talk to her, the insecurity is in glasses. If I talk to her, I'm saying, you've never met her. How can women, young women together say, this is what we want to know? How can you make an approach? She would not say no. But you said,
yeah, because when I phoned you all up to come here, you did not turn me down. You came, and today we're having a discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we need to round up this. Yes. Let's hear yours finally.
What Madam Zainab, she's saying, you should come together, speak with one voice, not conflicting messages.
Exactly.
And then you will.
Oh, that's very oriented.
It's very oriented.
Because what one section of women would consider to be important might not be the same to another. Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Phebe Swill platform. It's quite an interesting topic, and perhaps we might make this part 1 and have another episode to be part 2, because it's quite an interesting topic that one hour airtime would not be enough to cover. But with what we've gathered here today, as Reverend just said, it's a summary. So the key message is for women to speak with one voice. Yes, we would not always agree on the same things, but one thing we know that this is in the good of other women and girls in the country. We definitely have to agree on that. So, and yes, there has to be unity amongst women, and then advocating for women's inclusion in governance in the right way, using the right words. So there's been a lot of things said here. It's been the Phebe Swill platform, and it's been my pleasure to have you all watch our episode on this. Thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you.